Good afternoon. My name is Fatima Hindash and I'm here today at the U.S. Embassy in Amman talking to Janae Pierre-Louis about a new American holiday, Juneteenth. Welcome, Janae.
Thank you.
Good to have you here with us today. Can we start first by know a little bit about you and what do you do here at the U.S. Embassy in Amman?
Well, I'm Janae Pierre-Louis, and I am the Senior Commercial Officer at the U.S. Embassy. And as part of the U.S. Department of Commerce, my office is responsible for promoting trade and investment, which contributes to inclusive economic opportunities in the United States and Jordan.
Well, I think that's a very important role. So let's start. Can you please tell us a little bit about what is Juneteenth?
So Juneteenth is a U.S. federal holiday that was signed into law by President Biden in 2021, and it commemorates the end of slavery in the United States. And while this will only be the third year that we're celebrating Juneteenth as a national holiday, it was very much a mainstay of my upbringing, and it included festivals, family gatherings, community picnics, as well as educational events. And I think our viewers might be interested in knowing that the word Juneteenth is actually formed from the word June and 19th, which is the day in 1865 when Union troops informed those that were enslaved in Galveston, Texas, that they were now free. And for context, President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation of 1863, which declared the end of slavery in the United States, had actually been in place almost 2 years since the 2 years prior.
Wow, that's very interesting. And I guess that's all new to me. I never know about any of that before. And I have to ask, there's going to be an Independence Day that we're going to be celebrating 4th of July. What is the difference between these two holidays and why the emphasis on independence?
So it's a good question. Juneteenth and Independence Day are separate holidays that commemorate different historical moments in the United States. So let's talk about Juneteenth. It is officially known as Juneteenth National Independence Day, although some refer to it as our second Independence Day, and it celebrates the freedom of Black people from enslavement in the United States, and more broadly recognizes the historical struggles and accomplishments of Black Americans in pursuit of equality. By contrast, our Independence Day, also known as July 4th, that celebrates the ratification of the Declaration of Independence. That essentially established the United States of America on July 4th, 1776. So it's on this day that we are actually celebrating the creation of our country. I think it's worth noting that the Declaration of Independence affirmed that all men are created equal and endowed with certain unalienable rights. However, at the time, those principles generally were not extended to Black people. So when we take these two holidays together, Juneteenth actually makes the promises and principles outlined in the Declaration of Independence more whole, at least symbolically, in my opinion.
Wow, so fascinating. I love to learn about history, and however, some people would say, why would you want to bring up these old wounds? Other would take it as far as like, this is going to separate us. So why do you think it's very important to highlight Juneteenth?
Well, the United States is in the midst of a national dialogue about racial injustice and inequity. And it very much stems from the legacy of slavery and systemic racism. So in that sense, I believe that Juneteenth is very much relevant in 2023. It's a time for reflection, to learn about the Black experience in America, honor those who have suffered, to take account of injustices past and present, and really for all of us to recommit to being agents of change and progress in our country.
That's literally hit home for me. I'm a Jordanian, but I have a little beautiful girl. She's half Black American. So for me to know about all of this and learn about her history and start to like let her know about these at the young age and till she is old enough and she start to research it and do more. But I think this is really important to know where you come from and the struggle that the founding fathers or your history in general makes you where you are today, and it's really important for us. So thank you so much for sharing this. And I would like to know, and probably our viewers as well, you are very far away from home, so how would you celebrate Juneteenth while you're here in Jordan?
Well, life in the Foreign Service as a commercial service officer comes with many advantages, including the opportunity to go on a lifelong journey to learn about other cultures and countries. One of the drawbacks can be that during certain holidays, there can be limited camaraderie, but I feel very lucky that my family and we've been able to commemorate Juneteenth within the embassy community. Here at our embassy in Amman, we have a robust DEIA council and a very strong Black History Month committee, which organizes events that educate, celebrate, and raise awareness about Juneteenth here in Jordan. I think our listeners, our viewers, I encourage them and I welcome them to continue doing what they're doing now, logging on to podcasts such as this one, taking advantage of online resources to learn about Juneteenth, where one can find online documentaries and reading lists and can explore the writings of Black authors and poets and even tour virtual museums. In fact, just last month, I was back in Washington, D.C. I traveled with a group of Jordanian business people to the Select USA Investment Summit, which is organized by the Commerce Department. And the first evening, the reception was held at the National Museum for African American Culture and History. And it was an amazing venue that provided an opportunity for Jordanian business people and others from around the world to learn about the Black experience in America. This is a Smithsonian museum that has some pretty amazing online and digital resources about Juneteenth. And this can just be another way that people can commemorate Juneteenth from afar and learn about the stories of resilience of others.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this with us today, and thank you for being here and to learn a lot about what Juneteenth is and that strong history. And again, I just want to say thank you for sharing your personal expertise, personal experience, and thank you for everyone who joined us and listened for this podcast. Thank you.